Yes.
Good. Let's start
Share
then.
my screen quickly. Okay. Can you see my screen, ma'am? Okay. It's not going in presentation mode. Yeah. So, hi, hello, good evening, everyone. So today we are here today to for the introduction session to sensation and PM. Those who are new to it, in a week's time, we are starting with our magnificent mollusk, magnificent mollusk module. And those who are new, who are not aware and who have still joined us for the sessions today, we are starting it on 18th of March, and it would be in two parts. So if you want to register for the mollusk module, you can contact us on the details given. And we also have a special discount to the students who are from first year to internship and who wish to join and know more about the mollusks. And it would be an in-depth discussion on mollusks with their general anatomy and everything, and covering gastropods, cephalopods, and bivalves. So do join, and if you can contact us if you wish to join for the mollusk. Already we have got a lot of registrations, and you can also join in if you are excited about it. And also following this is just a general introduction to the sensation and PM method, but of course it is a very detailed topic to study on, which could not be covered in one session. But we have a detailed course coming on the basics of contemporary homeopathy, in which the basics of sensation and PM would be taken in detail, which would be a 12-day module. And it would be um, taken by all our mentors like Dr. Reni, Dr. Preeti, Dr. Prajakta, Dr. Jyoti, Dr. Chanda, Dr. Geeta, and Dr. Nirupama. So this would be an in detail, in-depth booster session for all those who are new to sensation and PM method and who wish to know and learn in detail about the basics of and these are based on the methods of Dr. Shankaran, Dr. Sholton, Dr. Gandhi, and Dr. Yakir. So for all the next generation homeopaths who are eager and keen to learn, do join us for the basic course. And you can contact us for the details on the musing group or on the contacts given below. You can also contact us on homeopathicmusings@gmail.com if you have any queries. This is the rough schedule of what we will be covering in the 12-day module of the basic course. So, and we would also be sharing it on the groups and on our emails so that you get a brief idea. Also, we have a
So,
repertory in.
Manali, I just want, if you can go
Yeah.
back to the previous slide. So, see, what I just wanted to add to what Manali beautifully described is that the intention and the objective of today's session uh, is to give you a platform, a basic starter
Mm.
to these methods. Okay, and especially for, we had a lot of participants who are joining the mollusk module who are absolutely new to the sensation method and who are absolutely new to the personal evolution. So we thought in their benefit it will be a good idea to at least give an introduction so that it makes more sense and you can register the words and the philosophy and the concepts that will bring in during the mollusks. So today is just going to be tip of the iceberg. In 2 hours, you cannot, cover the work and all these concepts that have come and by all these masters through whom we have learned it. So this 12-day module is a must. It's going to be very in depth. So those who are genuinely interested in learning and integrating, so I mean, there are a lot of people who are doing this. Of course, Dr. Shankaran and the Other Song Academy is running all these amazing modules. So if you want to master that, please reach out to the othersong.com also. But in this module, what we are doing is we're also integrating it with personal evolution and Yakir's method. Yeah, so it's going to be like an amalgamation of all these four teachers in one in-depth module. So, and we'll do it in a very structured and a thorough manner. So those of you who are here, we understand that you are new in the method. So I highly recommend that please register for this module. Prajakta and I were just talking that, what can we, because we understand people who may opt for this will be students who will be beginners in their practice. So to make it more economical, and to make it more available and easy for you all to register for this and attend this, we also thought that we price it in a way that it is easy for you to attend. Also, for participants who are here today, Manali, if you can go back, I think the pricing of this module is, just go to the previous slide, Manali.
Yeah.
Remind me of what is the pricing of this module. I think it's 1500 rupees if I'm not wrong, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Just a second.
yeah. So the early bird pricing is only 1500 rupees. But for participants who have joined us today and are able to register by tomorrow, we'll even reduce it further and make it only 1200 rupees. I mean, the whole intention is make it more available, make it more easy for you all to understand these methods. Okay. So today is just an introduction, and we really look forward to seeing you in this in-depth module. Go ahead, Manali. Sorry.
No problem. So here also we are starting with the repertory intensive course, which would be like a detailed course on the mind rubrics and the acutes and the single remedy rubrics, which are very important in case selection. I guess someone is drawing a line. Dr. Sudhakar, could you please not like, I guess your pen is on. Yeah, so I'm so sorry. So we'll be taking in-depth study of the mind rubrics, which are mastered by Dr. Arshi and Dr. Kushala, and we also have the single remedy rubrics and the rubrics which we generally use in acutes and which are helpful in day-to-day practice, which will all be overall covered by Doctors Arshi, Kushala, Dr. Prajakta, and Dr. Preeti. So it could be you could register for a per session for the repertory intensive course, or it is a 4-day, four session course which you could enroll for together for the course. And the first 25 people to register have a discount of 800 rupees on, or 25 USD for the foreign nationals. And who are registering, first 25 people have the discount of 800 rupees. Otherwise, per session it is 300, and the entire module is for 1000. So if the first 25 participants who are keen to join, do let us know and register soon for the repertory intensive course. Ma'am, if you would like to add something? Okay. Yeah.
I think we have a lot to cover and too short of time. So we can get started.
Over to you, ma'am.
All right, so let's get started. I think there are a couple of messages on the chat regarding recording. Yes, we'll share the recording of this today's session as well. But what helps is being live over here, which will enable you to ask questions and for us to kind of answer those. Okay. So you shared our screen. Able to see?
Yes, ma'am. We can see.
Okay. So let's get started. So we'll start with the very beginning, yeah, to the very basic today. Any remedy, any homeopathic remedy, any substance that we use as remedy, it produces a state of being rather than producing specific effects in specific organs. Would you agree? When Dr. Samuel Hahnemann started diluting the remedies with serial succussions, basically when he came up with the concept of potentization, what he saw was that the more he potentized, the more enhanced the effect of the whole remedy was, or the whole substance was. And hence the effect on the whole being, on the whole state was also enhanced. so much was the succussion or so much was the dilution that the remedy became too dilute to have any kind of local effect because it had an overall generalized effect. So this is the theory of dynamization, right? Our remedies are dynamic. Our remedies beyond the 12th potency have no material system, substance. So it's beyond the Avogadro's number. So if the remedy is so dilute, if there is not even a single molecule of the substance, how can the remedy have only local effect? How will it have it? Because how will the remedy enter the bloodstream? How will it enter a particular organ? How will it enter a particular part? It cannot, right? Because the remedy itself is dynamic. The remedy itself is at the plane of energy. So it has to have an effect or an impact at a much deeper level. Yeah, you're with me? So this deeper plane is the vital energy, isn't it? And at that level, the substance is dynamic in the sense that it affects the whole in an energetic way rather than a physical way. And therefore, at that level, it expresses on the whole being. Every symptom, wherever it may be found in the person at the time, is an expression of that dynamic state, whether it be in a proving or be it in an actual patient. So there is no local symptom anywhere. That every system, even if it is locally placed or it's manifesting in a local part, it is an expression of the entire being. The mind, the body, the general, the particular, everything. It is just a manifestation or an expression of the whole derangement. That is the main basic principle of holism in homeopathy, isn't it? Now, this principle of holism by Dr. Hahnemann was taken further by Boninghosen. And he said there is something called as generalization, that every expression in a part is an expression of the whole. There is no difference. Grand generalization, isn't it? And with this holism, with this grand generalization, came also individualism, came also the making every patient individual. Prescription is individualism because you're prescribing at the level of the state. You're prescribing at the level of the general derangement, which is there throughout, through and through the patient and its entire being. And that's how we are different than contemporary medicine, right? Because every patient, no matter the label of the disease, we will individualize and we'll prescribe. Boninghosen also added the concept of concomitance, right? And you can pecularize or you can individualize that case by the concomitance. So on these same principles of holism, of individualization, of finding the peculiarities in the patient, and generalization, Dr. Shankaran also developed a methodology, or I took it one step deeper to explain what is the nature of disease and what is the nature of remedy. You want to talk about this?
Yeah. So to continuation of this grand generalization and whole the individualization and all this process, the vital sensations which Dr. Shankaran is talking about is not merely the physical symptoms or the emotions that generally we see in patients. That is the first thing that we see with the chief complaint or when we start taking the case. But rather these common sensations, they connect the mind and the body. Okay, so the vital level is deeper than the mind or the body. It is at the center point of the disease state. So the vital sensation is general and it's universal to the patient. When we say universal to the patient means wherever, whenever you take the case, you will see it is running through and through the case, not just to the local chief complaint, or not just to the mind, or not just in the dreams, but all of these together. Yeah.
And just these vital sensation is beyond, it's not the mind, not coming from the mind, not coming from the body, it's coming from your vital energy, it's coming from a deeper level which is beyond the mind. It manifests in the mind and it also manifests in the body. Yeah.
So these vital sensations or the symptoms, they are, or the state of being, they are expressed at different levels. So there are 7 levels where these expressions are there. There can be the name, that is the disease or the chief complaint or the diagnosis that we have, the facts, the feelings, okay, then imagination and the delusions which come after the feeling. Beyond this delusion and imagination would be the vital sensation. It is more deeper. To deeper to the vital sensation would be energy, the pattern or the source that we can connect to. And then there is a level, the 7th level, which is beyond even the source or the energy pattern. Yeah. So when we say the name, so when we start the case, there can be a level where there is a name. So the name of the disease, like the migraine or BP, diabetes, or allergies, left kidney affection, right kidney affections. Okay. Then there would be kind of modalities which will be there, the aggravations, or better by having cold milk, and the second level would be facts. Facts would be more of weight, height, what is the build of the patient or the occupation. Also, the diagnosis comes in this level.
Medical history,
Yeah.
personal history.
Yeah. That comes into this name and fact. Okay. So, a lot of things which are included, but this is like with the example or the experience that we have seen, right? For ringworm, the Tellurium LM1 or the intermittent Bacillinum LM1M would be a very good remedy. So at time we have seen the prescription depending on the cases.
Dr.
By Dr. Master.
Has,
Yes.
Yeah,
Then uranium nitricum is very good remedy for side effects of chemotherapy as mentioned in the books. Also sulfur to start with the alcohol addictions. Autism cases with DPT. We can start with this DPT and have a better understanding of the autism case, or the expression of the disease gets better in the patient. That is what we have seen in our practical experience also.
And as homeopaths, we can run a practice and give remedies like this. Yeah, you will give. So, and you may also have success. But will you have success in each and every case? Will you have the joy of understanding the deeper state of the patient? No. So these are, with experience, with clinical experience, certain known facts or certain known remedies which help in certain known conditions, but they don't give you a surety that it's going to work each and every time. So it's recommended that we go a level deeper.
These can be used as a pointers, or as an entry point for the case.
Practice. Yeah.
And then we go more deeper to that, there will be more of feelings. So this level of experience is most common in the human world, right? Especially in the adults that we see. It's based on the facts. Like if the facts are money or accounts or thing to do with finance, and they may stem from fear of poverty. That is what we see, right? If there are a lot of insecurities or ailments from financial loss, there's a lot behind that is a fear of poverty. If the facts are family, friends, and other relationship, then may find the basis of the emotions like hurt, or they felt disappointed. Okay, so examples of feeling would be anger, irritability, and confusion, fears. That is what commonly we see, when the patients start describing, when we talk about their mind or their general nature. Yeah, so this is a level
And
deeper.
if we are at this level, under anger, under irritability, you will find 300 remedies. Yeah. So then you will automatically go into confusion and then fear, oh God, what am I going to prescribe? Yeah. So again, a difficult level to be 100% sure that you are going to have success with this case. Hmm?
Below that, hmm, or maybe let's talk more about this of the feeling, to get more understanding or more surety of this feeling, we can be at that level and use that emotion or that feeling to understand in depth for the patient, by asking them, describe this feeling more, or how does this emotion feel like to him or her, so they will qualify the emotion or the intention that can lead to the next level. Or we can focus on it and ask him to describe more about it. Or we can go from here to the next level of delusion. From this emotions can come the delusion. Also, at this moment we can talk about the intense situation that have taken place in their life, which will help us to go a little deeper. Then the fears, the dreams, and the interests and hobbies can also help us to go in a deeper level than the just the feeling. Yeah. And then from here we can go into the imaginations or the delusions. We've been understanding this as a disease is about the perception, about the delusions. Yeah. So these evolve from the emotions that we have, it is beyond our likes and dislikes or happiness or sorrow. These imaginations tend to evoke images, which in turn give rise to the emotions in us. Yeah, so that our eye sees things, but our mind can imagine to be something else. That is the distorted perception of the reality.
I recently heard um, one lecture by Muji. He's a spiritual master, a mystic, and he beautifully says that we are all living on one earth, but we have as many worlds as many people that we are. So we all have one earth. We are living on one planet, but there are millions of worlds, and these millions of worlds come from these delusions, where it comes from these glasses that we wear, which is also the root of the disease, isn't it?
Yeah. So in our practice, what we can see, like the quality of the pain, the pain as if like a punch in my abdomen. At times we miss, but these can lead us to the delusion. My father is like a Hitler, or is a cruel. My friend is so catty. All this gives us a hint of delusion. Yeah. And from here, when we go deeper into the level of delusion, we can go into the level of sensation. Okay, so this is the most deepest and the constant experience of the patient. It can be very absurd, very illogical, and takes myriad of forms of emotions, situations, symptoms, and pains. It is more like an experience of that phenomena. So if you ask the delusion, the experience of the delusion, we can reach to the sensation. It is deeper to the mind and the body. Okay, and it expresses which is common to the mind and body. Yeah, beyond the mind and body. Okay, at times, it cannot be expressed through words. Yeah, so we at this level can also see some gestures, when they're unable to express, oh, it is so tight, they can come with the hand gestures, and they can also convey the energy of that particular source. Yeah, and it is mainly not just a word, but it is a group of words, okay, along with the gesture. It is global. Same experience can be seen irrespective of time, space, and location of pathology. So once we start with the chief complaint, going deeper and deeper into the emotions and the delusions, there comes this phenomena. Okay, it is found in many other situations like past and present, or the different times in this different aspects of patient's life. It comes up again and again in different situations. The same thing comes repeating. And that is the time when we know that this is something is more deeper to the just the feeling or the delusion.
So, if your patient is in front of you today and in the current life space, he may have a particular X delusion. Tomorrow, he may have a Y delusion. But his vital sensation is not external situation driven, or it is not driven by time and space. Yeah, whatever he is talking or whatever he is going through externally, his core vital sensation remains same. Yeah. Similarly, we were just reading something that Shankaran sir had written. He says that one remedy will have many delusions. And like, let's say, for example, lycopodium. Yeah, 10 different patients of lycopodium may have 10 different delusions. But 10 different patients of lycopodium will have the same sensation. You see? So the more you go inside, more you go to the core, the more exact you are becoming. Hmm? So this is just to describe sensation a little further. If a person says he feels jealous, he feels suspicious, or he expresses something mental and emotional, then you may ask this patient, just describe what is the experience of being in this situation. And then he might feel that he's being attacked, and that is why he's frightened. In this way, this emotional situation is perceived behind the mental symptom, which is good to understand. But if we want to take one step further, we must ask him, what is the experience of being attacked? And at this point, out of the feeling, out of the delusion of being attacked, then you go deeper and then you ask him, what is the experience of being attacked? And then he may say something like, something is breaking, something is burning, something is twisting. Now, this has no connection to his chief complaint. This breaking, burning, twisting has no connection to jealousy or suspiciousness. Yeah, that is not even connected to his mental or physical. This is the very deep level, and this is the vital sensation. Okay, let's take some more examples.
Yeah,
Pradipta, you want to say
yeah.
this example?
So the patient come with the knee joint pain. Common thing what we see that I feel very stiff and I can't move. Common thing, no? And on the basis of that, maybe we can just prescribe rest stops. Yeah, if we don't want to go deeper. If we take this more into deeper stage, if we ask, okay, describes more about this and about the mental status, then we see that she has some problems with mother-in-law. She says, the patient says, I'm very scared of her. It's kind of a emotion. I get angry, or she does this, she does that. All these things come up. Okay, very common thing. Then if you go beyond this, so talk about more about this scared, anger, everything. Then she says, I feel as if she's going to attack me. This is more of a delusion. The as if word, it's something that creates, as we learned before, some image. Yeah? Your mind imagines something about the emotions that you're feeling. So she's going to attack me. So what is the experience of being attacked? I feel extremely stiff and I can't move, which is also expressed in the joint pain, that is in the chief complaint. So here we can see that stiffness and can't move as the sensation. It is the common point where your mind and your body, they both meet. Yeah. Okay.
So before we go a little deeper in the sensation and understand what exactly it is, there's something that is beautifully described by Dr. Mahesh Gandhi, sir. So we'll talk about that. So all of us, especially a lot of us, and it's a little common in the homeopathic community, right? We have a spiritual inclination. Um, we have an inclination towards the mystical, right? Something which is beyond matter. Yeah, that's how we are also in homeopathy. So there is this self, there is this consciousness which is to the core of our being. In this seats an all-embracing, non-finite, eternal cosmic consciousness. This is our true self. It is our positive self. In the Hindu philosophy, we call it as Atman. From this true self is born our personal I, our identity, or our personality. As Sigmund Freud would say, this is how it will look. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and below this, there is this pre-conscious and unconscious world. The personal I emerges from the self, the true self, and it becomes evident and it crystallizes as we progress on our journey towards individuation. This personal I includes our basal self, which Freud would call as id, which Dr. Shankaran would call as the other song, which Dr. Gandhi would call inner software or basal self. And it also includes our conditioned self, which includes our ego and our superego. This personal I is a combination of all of these. Okay, you are with me? So there's this self, and then there is this crystallized form, or a personalized form of self, yeah, which is more dynamic and doing everyday activities. That includes the other song, or the id, or the basal self. It includes the ego and the superego. Now this id, or other song, or basal self, or inner software, is the unconscious part of our personality. It includes this basic human instinctual drives. It is the source of our bodily needs. Sajni, I don't know what you are up to. Do you want to lock your screen, because you are like scribbling all over the screen? If you can please lock your screen, it's will be helpful. Okay, so this id is very instinctual. It includes our desires, our impulses, especially our sexual and aggressive desires. It works on the pleasure principle. Yeah, the tendency to seek immediate gratification of any impulse, regardless whether it is appropriate or not to do in that moment. That is the id. Okay. And as we go deeper within us, our consciousness expands. Yeah, we leave the human world and begin to share our consciousness with things in nature, either from the mineral, plant, or animal kingdom. Yeah. So from the tip of the iceberg, when we go deeper inside, our consciousness is expanding. But until we reach the true self, our consciousness is still in an energy plane, which is vibrating on a similar level with anything else in nature. At that plane, you could vibrate with an animal energy, with a plant energy, with a mineral energy, with an imponderable energy, with whatever. But here, there is a particular pattern with which you resonate. One of these patterns becomes our source, or the basal self. This becomes our inner reality, our inner software program, or the other song, and it exists within us as an energetic blueprint, making us what we are, while we are still within this personal I realm. Okay. Now at this level, energy is universal, it is immaterial. isn't it? All things, living and non-living, possess energy. Energy can manifest in the form of different patterns, all part of a common universal pool. Yet, each one with its own peculiar shape, direction, speed, form, etc. Yeah, like if you're listening to radio, you will tune to a particular frequency to listen to a particular song. Yeah, to go to the news, you'll have to tune into a particular frequency. While everything is energy, it's part of the same pool. Each will have its own frequency, and you will resonate or vibrate with to a particular frequency. In case of diseased human beings, the vital force is deranged, so the man's consciousness or human's consciousness is altered. This altered consciousness is similar to a specific mineral, animal, or a plant consciousness in the universe. And as homeopathic remedies, which are prepared from these sources, when you potentize them, you are manifesting its energy pattern. And as homeopaths, we have to pick this spirit, this energy pattern of our patient and try to match with the energy or the spirit pattern of that substance in nature. So when you apply law of similars at this level of energy pattern, then there will be a true healing. Then the individual is going to be restored to health in a way to achieve his or her higher purpose of existence. Right? So when you go deeper into id, when you go deeper into the id realm, deeper into the basal self realm or the energy pattern, yeah, deeper into the other song, you are able to pick that pattern. But if we do our case taking, and if we stick to our conditioned level, no, where there is everything makes sense, oh, your mother-in-law is bad, okay, you are going to feel angry, you're going to feel revengeful, you're going to feel whatever, but that is still understandable, it is still logical. That means you're still in the conditioned self level. That means you're still at the level of ego and super ego. Yeah, that means you're at the level of emotions, feelings, delusion, nature, dreams, fears, hobbies, childhood, all of that. The more it becomes from this sensical world, more you go from guilt, anxiety, superiority, inferiority complex, anger, all of that. From here, you go into the realm of the other song. The more nonsensical you become, and the more chances of you to find that source, that energy pattern with which you want to apply the law of similars with the patient. Okay, so at this sensation level, you are becoming non-human specific. Until delusion, you are still human specific. Until delusion, you are still with the language of dreams, fairy tales, novels, and movies, and we all share it as a human race, as community. But when we go deeper to the delusion and touch the sensation, we are going beyond the mind, beyond the human, where we can connect or share our energies with plants, animals, minerals, etc. It is more direct than delusion. For example, delusion is still in the mind. But when you go to sensation, and the sensation is like, I feel light and floating, yeah, or I feel the opposite of it, heavy and burdened. It is not only a human expression, yeah, because this light and floating will also be experienced by gases, by bird, or by some plants in the hemamelid subclass. So the moment we come to the sensation level, we are not talking human anymore. We are talking nonsensical. So when you don't understand something in the case, when it becomes more nonsensical, you know that you are hitting the vital sensation. Again, mother-in-law, that is common. So example, she abused me. I felt angry, sensible. Yeah, you can understandable. No, I mean, she abused me, I'm going to feel angry. Understandable. I feel I want to stab her, kill her. Still logical. Yeah, as a reaction to anger, somebody may want to stab that person back. I perceived her as a monster. That is also logical. You can still understand, no? Okay, somebody abused, then I feel that person is like a monster. But when you ask what is the experience of monster, I feel I'm shrinking. What is the opposite of shrinking? I feel expansion. Now, this shrinking and this expansion has nothing to do with the mother-in-law. It makes no sense. It has no connection. It is not even human. So it is so very peculiar. It is the animal, mineral, or plant energy part of you, that resonance, that frequency, that tuning which is not right, that needs to be corrected.
Yeah. And then you get the hints, during the case. When the case start also, in the chief complaints, or in the, when they're talking about their mind or their nature, you will get the hints. But when you reach there, you'll actually get the sensation and the experiences. Lot of things that we see, the trapped, suffocated, freedom, So they are also seen in the chief complaint. So from there we can pick it up because it's the globally patient experiences everywhere. Yeah. And at this is the level when you reach the sensation, that time we can classify or we can, identify with what it matches with, the plant or the animal or the mineral. That time it will be like the concrete understanding of these kingdoms that we will do.
And if you do kingdom at the level of feeling, you are going to go wrong, definitely. Yeah, everybody who is competitive and jealous is not lactices. Yeah, a plant or a mineral can have competitiveness as well, jealousy as well. Yeah, so the kingdom classification only comes at the level of sensation. Sometimes when you even go further deeper, if you push it a little harder, automatically the patient, while describing this nonsensical sensation, will go into energy. And while describing this energy, the patient will use a lot of gestures. Energy has something which is represented with movement, with sound, with color. It has speed, it has direction, it includes music, it includes art. So this energy pattern can be very healing. Yeah, it can also lead to the source at this level. Yeah, this is completely different realm, and the case taking itself at this level will become healing. I mean, you will have the law of similars then and there. Yeah, because at that time the patient himself or herself is experiencing that energy and can resonate, which can be so similar, that space. And that is why a lot of case taking at this level is therapeutic. Yeah. So as I said, a lot of gestures will be used at this level. So let's talk a little bit about kingdom.
Yeah. So about the mineral kingdom, the main issue of the mineral is structure. So the issues of mineral remedies or the personalities, they arise from lacking or the formation or maintaining or losing or breaking of this structure and or the organization. So This structure we can understand in terms of the roles, so the existence, identity, position, relationships, security, performance, responsibility. Issue, what is the issue of the mineral kingdom is about completeness or incompleteness, which is expressed as something is lacking or missing in their self or that structure. Or it can be fear of losing that completeness. So you will see that, am I stable or am I unstable? So the problem here in the mineral kingdom will not be with the other person, but it is always with the self. So even if they're talking about the competitiveness or the performance, it is directed to their own self. They will say that I have to bear with whatever he is going to do because I am not independent. The issues will be like this. If only I was complete, then there would have been no problem. It is my security that can lead to a problem. Okay, and these mineral remedies or personalities we understood on the basis of the periodic table. Okay, the rows and the columns which we are going to take in the basic module that we are going to do. Yeah, this is just the nutshell. The plant kingdom, when we come to the plant, we have sensations, and when we want to understand the kingdom in terms of the plant, the hints will be here, there will be more of sensitivity and reactivity that you will see. So there will be a lot of emotions or expressions of the patient that will directly seen to the sensation. At times, you will see would be reactions to that particular sensation that come up. Okay. And then these reaction also would be different, can be active or passive. So when you see these reactions, there is some sensitivity. I'm sensitive to something, and to that sensitivity, there are reactions which are like equal and opposite to that sensation. If you see this pattern, then it is more likely the remedy that patient needs it from the plant kingdom. For example, like if the sensation is caught or stuck, so the active reaction will be that patient wants to move. The passive reaction will be he's just unable to move or immobile. And the compensation will be the person will be always on the move. Okay. So generally we see this in the anacardiaceae family, right? The feeling of being stuck, caught up, and then better by motion is the active reaction that we have. Passive reaction is like in that is unable to move. Okay. So this is in the plant kingdom. Then we see the sensation. If the main issue is the issue of survival or the issue or a threat to the life, then we can think about the animal remedy for the case or for that patient. There can be more deceitfulness that you will see, the maliciousness, aggressiveness. They'll use words like cut me, kill me, bite me, rip me, or tear me apart, And there will be some survival strategy. How do they do that? For this threat, how do they survive? And all this, we'll do that in the session with the cases. So you'll understand it more. There would be a survival strategy. The strategy to survive for the mammals, for the reptiles, for the insects, they all are different. From there, we understand what is a sub-kingdom of that particular remedy. Okay. Then there would be a feeling of victim and aggressor. People feel that victimized. Okay, people are doing this to me, people are doing that to me. From here, you will get the hints. Also, there will be issues of superiority, inferiority. They are dominating me, they are overpowering me, they are above me. They always make this feel to the inferior people. You will get the hints of the animal remedy. Also, with the sexuality and attractiveness. Okay, competition. Also need to the belonging to the group, more in seen in the mammal case. Almost all the mammal cases have that. Yeah. So this is how we differentiate. When we reach to a sensation, that sensation belongs to which kingdom will be more clarified if you understand the issues of the kingdoms. Okay.
Okay, so let's pause here for a moment before we go into the personal evolution. Any questions, any comments, anything so far? Manali, anything on the chat? So we see there are about 50% of people who are both new to sensation and personal evolution, and 20% definitely on sensation method also. So anything, the pace, the speed is all right for you, or is it too fast or too slow?
You can put it in on the chat box or just unmute yourself and speak.
Okay, so let it all seep in. Uh, and
We
if
can
there are
take,
questions that come up later, we can take it up later. Yeah.
yeah, Bell is saying the pace is perfect.
So let's go further, and then we'll see how we put all of these together. Okay. Um, so now, what is personal evolution? Yeah, and this is of course the brainchild of Dr. Mahesh Gandhi, sir. And it's in this model, what basically he's explaining us is to map the individual in front of you with his or her inner age. So I may be of whatever, I'm not going to disclose my age, but I may be of whatever age. What is my inner age? Not the biological age. Map an individual with this inner age. Yeah, and this inner age more or less remains same throughout the life. Yeah, some person can be extremely childish for their age, as an adult also. So this childishness is part of this individual. It's part of his inner song. It's part of his other song. So it's about mapping the patient with his or her inner age. All things existing in time and space go through this eternal cycle of germination, growth, proliferation, death, and regeneration. It's not just true for the human kingdom, it is true for anything and everything that is here, isn't it? And when we study this process of changes that occur in the heritable traits of any biological population over successive generations, we call it evolution. Yeah. Our inner age that reflects our individual personal evolution can be different from our outer biological age. This inner age mostly remains same throughout our lifetime. So this cosmic cycle of creation, of preservation, of destruction in the Hindu mythology is the Trinity, right? Of Trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. As a human race, we have a collective evolution, right? We evolved from the apes. Yeah. Our communication, how it evolved, you see the picture there, right? We did not communicate earlier. Then we communicated with symbols, with gestures only. Then the first written word came. Then slowly mass publication came. Then email came. Then now Twitter came. Yeah, shorter. So everything is evolving as a race, as a community. We are evolving. Yeah, and each distinct era or each distinct stage or each distinct period of change, we say no revolution, agricultural revolution, and then industrial revolution, the digital revolution. This period of change, it affects all of us in a collective manner, and collectively we are evolving. Yeah. So when we evolved from, our animal uh, stage. Yeah. I mean, initially it was only about eat, survive, reproduce. But as our consciousness evolved, yeah, it's more than just eat, survive, reproduce. It is about why. What is my higher purpose of existence? Isn't it? So, what is true at the cosmic level? What is true at a collective human level? It's also true at an individual level. As an individual, also, we are evolving, right? And it's the same cycle of being born, then growing, growing, growing. Yeah, then becoming an adult, then maintaining, and then slowly becoming old and having a second childhood. And then again, I love this photograph because, it's not just death, it's then reuniting with the cosmic consciousness. So, what is true to the whole, what is true in general in terms of evolution, also is true to our individual evolution, or our individual development also. At an individual level, the beginning of the evolutionary journey lies in the material world with the goal of attaining consciousness of ego and selfhood. Yeah. From the conscious realm, I mean, the sense of I comes, right? Ego is the sense of I in the beginning. One is the part of infinity universal. So, from this universal consciousness, and I emerges. We spoke about it in the beginning also, right? This beginning, this beginning of the journey is the feminine principle. We are conceived in the mother's womb, right? We mature in the mother's womb. And after birth also, the first few years of our life is being in under the maternal care, right? Having mothers to take care of you, to give you nourishment, to give you care, to give you love. It's all a feminine principle. So the ego has just formed, it is just beginning, and slowly, slowly, from this cosmic consciousness where there is no individual I, you're developing an individual I, an individual ego. The ego is very weak or feminine in the beginning, and the ego is just beginning to form, and it is not yet much differentiated or not much individuated. Then slowly the journey continues under the influence of the masculine principle, where we develop a definite sense of self. With this distinct individually, we go out into the world doing what we are born to do. There is a cognitive development during this part of the journey, where slowly, as our ego gets differentiated, we want to become unique, we want to specialize, we want people to recognize us, we need to have name, we need to have success, we need to have fame, we need to become more and more. Our ego becomes more and more defined. And when we go more and more towards the right side, when we develop further, we are no longer part of that oneness. And at some stage, when you really develop, when you reach the pinnacle of success, then you start wondering, yeah, I got all these things in the material world, but what is my higher purpose of existence? And then again, the journey begins of going back to that universal consciousness. Then the journey begins of going back into that oneness, going back and reuniting from the sense of separateness. Now you don't want to remain separate. Yeah. So this whole process, if you see, there is a common thread in this entire evolutionary cycle. Yeah. So when Darwin postulated this theory of evolution, it was more from a biological perspective, isn't it? But this is a cosmic evolution. It's much deeper. The cosmic evolution cannot be overlooked. Human evolution, evolution of other species, evolution of the earth itself and the entire cosmos in common It's inseparable and inevitable. Yeah. So if we just take this and try to link it with the kingdoms, okay, from an evolutionary perspective. So the minerals came, isn't it? First, what was Earth? It was what? It was just fire and rocks and all the different types of gases, isn't it? There is only mineral. Now, just this mineral correlate with what Prajakta was saying. No, Prajakta was saying in mineral, the whole focus is only on the I. Yeah, I'm not having this. I am lacking this. Yeah, the problem is in me. I'm incomplete. I need support. Yeah, so it's very primal. It's just evolving. It's just the first level. Then, as the oxygen levels increased, we started having the plants. Yeah. So the second level was the plants. And here, if you correlate again with what Prajakta was saying about the plant kingdom, now it's not just me. I'm sensitive to what the external environment is. I'm sensitive to the external stimuli, right? So my connection with the external world has started. So this is a second level of evolution. And from there, next came the animals. And here now the focus is more towards outside. Yeah. Whatever is happening to me is because of you. Am I better or are you better? Yeah. So then again, the focus goes more outside. Yeah. So from being inside to then having a reaction from inside and outside to having focus only outside. That itself is also evolution. Yeah. And you also see here the inner structures of the four kingdoms of nature. So this itself also is evolution. So there's evolution everywhere. It's universal. So now the evolution is true for the cosmos. The evolution is true to all species. It's true to all individuals. It's true to individuals, to humans. But how are we dealing with different issues in our own personal life is unique. These inner issues can be understood as expressions of his or her inner development or his or her evolutionary stage. And this is different in each person. And this is what makes us different from each other. We again fall back to the same id, the same other song, the same inner software, which makes us different. Isn't it? So evolution helps us explain this other song. So if you see what we were talking in the sensation method was all zooming in, go deeper, become more exact, become more accurate, find that energy pattern. It's zooming in. And with personal evolution, what you're doing is, along with zooming in, you also simultaneously zoom out to see that what is the evolutionary stage of this individual? How developed is this individual? And when you do this zoom in and the zoom out together, you can be more sure-footed in wherever you are, in your prescriptions, in your practice. Okay. So now, while we all studied the classical homeopathy, when your inner energy and your style of practice then slowly takes you to Shankaran sir and his method, and you study under him and you evolve your practice. And then when we learned as an evolution of the sensation method, the personal evolution what Dr. Gandhi talks about. Now in practice, it's impossible to just do sensation or just do personal evolution or just do classical. It's an integration of all the methods that are both classical and contemporary. Okay. So for example, in the sensation method, we know that there are various kingdoms, and then within the kingdom there are sub kingdoms and groups, right? So in the plant we have the families. So the family Malvaceae and the family Scrophularis, they both have this issue around connection and the need for connection. Okay, so when you zoom in, you see that the vital sensation is all about connection. Now, which is very similar in both the families. But if you also have evolutionary perspective, then you know that Malvaceae are still less developed. They belong to the fourth subclass. Yeah, in the infancy stage. So they are still less developed. They are dependent. But Scrophularis are adults and they can live on their own. So then you can differentiate Malvaceae and Scrophularis in your practice. Yeah, similarly, very classical, easier example is the Piper family and the Labiatae. Yeah, both have this excitement and everything. They have very similar sensations, isn't it? But pipers, if you know the evolutionary perspective, it's in the first subclass. They are like babies. So all this enjoyment and pleasure and all this excitement that comes in the piper is about instant gratification. It's about
More like a child.
more like a child, more like a baby. Yeah, just to taste everything, enjoy life, taste life in a very childlike manner. But Labiatae belongs to the sixth subclass. They are adults, they are more developed. The sense of I is much more developed here. And the issues are, there are various types of issues, different types of issues in Labiatae. So if you know the evolution, it's easy to differentiate the sensation, whether it comes from the Piper family or from the Labiatae family. Yeah. Are you with us so far? Anything that comes to you? Okay. So now let's do these evolutionary stages a little bit. And we're just going to take you very briefly so that you understand as individuals how we develop and how you can correlate that with the three different kingdoms that we have. Okay, and for these three different kingdoms, we have different charts that are now available, right? So we have Sholton's mineral chart, isn't it? We have Yakir's plant chart, and Dr. Gandhi has developed the animal chart. So we will use this development of personal evolution and we'll try to understand using the principles of Dr. Shankaran, Sholton, Yakir, and Dr. Gandhi. Okay. So the first is the womb stage, the conception to birth. This represents the stage when the child is still in the womb, still not born. It is a very unprepared stage. At this stage, the child still relates more to the unconscious world, yeah, and less to the outer world. He's more connected to the neither world and shows unwillingness to born. Like a child in the womb, his mother does everything for him and he has to do nothing, no? Just be there in the protection of the womb. He passively accepts everything that happens to him in his life. There will not be any sort of initiative. There will be no activity from his side. He is very dependent. He finds it difficult to confront both the inner world and the complexities of the outer world. The feeling is of inability, of weakness, of powerlessness, and absence of will. So the main crisis for individuals. So again, I want to remind, this is not the real age. It is the inner age that we are talking about. Okay. So a person who is 40 years old may still have the inner age of the womb stage. And at a sensation level, also this age comes up. It can come up at any level. That is the beauty of evolution. It will come up at the level of feeling. It will come up at the level of nature because it's a zoom out methodology. Yeah. So you will still be able to see the hints of the age at each and every level. At the level of the way the patient is dressed also. Okay. So here the psychological crisis is facing the outer reality versus living the inner reality. So within the mineral chart, which remedies belong to the womb stage? We have the lithium line. Yeah. Lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen. This is the stage of the womb. Okay, and Shankran so beautifully describes the entire birth process for this room. Also, column 18, Dr. Gandhi would like to call it, he puts it here as column 0, is also the beginning, also the conception stage. Yeah, so all these noble gases belongs to the womb stage. If you see in the plant chart, all the remedies from the first 3 subclasses belong to the conception or before the separation has happened. So conception and womb. Yeah. And the row, the first row, before life, magnolids, urticales, thialis, okay, solanaceae family, rosids, all of this belongs to the womb stage of development. Okay. In the animal chart, if you see, the animal chart is basically divided in 3 different parts. Yeah. And there's a lot of elements, different elements also come into play, etc., which let's not touch, it's going to get confusing. Just simply know that the left side of the animal chart, more aquatic animals, more animals, the beginning of the animal world belongs to the womb stage of development from a column perspective. And of course, within within each rows, you will have womb stage remedies. Okay. So you will also see it in the rows. Okay. Let's go to the next level of development. The next level is after birth, what happens? The first 1 year of life, that is infancy. An infant is again, while in the womb, the baby was completely dependent on the mother, still the baby is completely dependent on his parents, completely dependent for nourishment and sustenance. The child's relative understanding of the world and society comes from the parents and their interactions. According to Erik Erikson, the major developmental task in infancy is to learn whether or not other people, especially the primary caregivers, regularly satisfy the basic needs of infant. If the parents here provide warmth, provide food, provide comfort, provide affection, then a healthy bond and trust is developed. But if imagine the child is only crying, 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 nobody cares whether to give him food, whether to put him to sleep, or whether to change his nappy, then he feels, nobody is there to take care of me. He feels unsafe, he feels unsecured, he feels unacknowledged. This stage is where unconditional love is there. Yeah, the mother gives unconditional love to, the mother will lose her sleep, the entire family will lose their sleep so that the baby is taken care of, right? So this level of development is to do with trust and mistrust. That is the main psychological crisis. This stage is also called as the oral stage of development, right? Because whatever the child wants, whatever an infant wants, he needs immediately. No, otherwise he'll keep on crying. Yeah, whatever he needs, you have to immediately gratify him. So it is the oral stage. He's also curious. No, everything the child puts in the mouth, isn't it? So infant stage is about love. It is about care. It is about nourishment. It is about unconditional love. It's about developing trust. It is about complete dependence. It's also about curiosity. It's about immediate gratification, not having the inner resources. Okay. So if you have to translate this into remedies in the different kingdoms, you will see the natrum line of development. Yeah. So the natrum line, the natrums, the magnesium, the aluminum, silica, phosphorus, so on and so forth. That is this infancy stage. Also the first column, yeah, again lithium, natrium, kali, they also develop, they also belong to the infant stage of development. In the mineral chart,
Plant.
in the plant chart, the fourth subclass, yeah, the first three belongs to the before birth. The fourth subclass is about the nutrition line, so the daily needs subclass. Yeah? It has remedies like chocolate and bryonia and things like that. Okay. Also, if you see from a row perspective, you will have the oral stage. So we spoke about the pipers, right? Everything is about taste and oral stage of development, isn't it? So this oral stage of development will be this in the plant subject, plant kingdom. In the animal kingdom, it's relatively simpler and it's relatively broader. So the the animal chart is divided into the vertebrates on the top of the screen and the invertebrates on the bottom of the screen. Yeah, invertebrates on the top of the screen and vertebrates on the bottom of the screen. So infancy and childhood, all the early childhood up to early childhood, that means infancy, school age, everything is clubbed together, okay, in the animal chart. And then here you have remedies like the mammals group. Yeah, you have some insects also. So this is the animal chart where you're going to find these remedies. Okay. The next stage of development is the toddler age, when the child is just about 2 to 3 years of age. What does the toddler learn to do? The toddler learns to start walking. He starts to slowly become little independent, isn't it? This is where you start toilet training the children, isn't it? So the theme of control comes, the thing of doership comes, the thing of autonomy. The first time the concept of autonomy, that I can do it. Yeah, somebody comes and pats on his back, isn't it? The first step the child takes, and everybody is so excited and delighted, isn't it? So this is the first independent step. It's still not footed, no, not very footed. They're still confused and like that. But it's the first step towards individuation. Okay. So here, the main theme is about autonomy versus shame and doubt. If the parents are very encouraging, yes, you did it right, you did it perfect, then the child is going to develop faster. Yeah. But if he's kind of always ridiculed, or if he's not encouraged enough, or if he's punished for maybe for not being properly toilet trained, then a lot of shame and doubt and things like that will develop. Okay. Let's translate that into remedies. From the row wise, you're still at the row 3. But from a column wise, it's very important. And this will understand in deeper. Yeah, I mean, when to look at all charts have this, no? It is 2-dimensional. It will have a row, it will have a column. How to read and understand this? I mean, we have to go a lot in deeper in that. We'll take that up separately in the basic course. But just for your understanding, when you're looking at the mineral chart, the columns 2 and 3. Yeah. Column 3, boron. So much fear of downward motion is there, no? So much unsurety is there. Aluminum, no, head belongs to somebody else. So much confusion comes, no? So all of that is the toddler stage of development. Calcium, so dependent, but yet controlling, yet wanting to do something, but yet very fearful, isn't it? So always relying back, taking some steps, first autonomy steps, but going back. So columns 2 and 3 in the mineral chart. Again, control is also anal. Yeah, you're controlling. Yeah, you're making sure you don't do potty in your pants, isn't it? So that is the anal stage of development. So in the Yaki's plant chart, if you see, you have to go here in the anal. So remedies in the hemamilidales, laurels, malveals, gentianales, all of that belong to this stage of development. As I said earlier also, in the mineral, from infancy till till childhood, they all belong the same group of remedies. Okay, so we have the insects and we have the mammals basically. Then comes preschool. Very minor differentiation. Huh? So toddler is just an initiative with autonomy, yeah. But preschool is more. They start doing basic skills and they start learning basic skills and tasks, isn't it? They will they'll round things, they'll roll things, they will start speaking a little bit, they'll start drawing a little bit. Yeah? So they'll start learning basic, simple things of life. At this stage, the child wants to begin and complete his own everything, whatever he has started, and it has some purpose. Guilt is a new emotion that has come up in this stage. Okay, and he may feel very guilty over things logically which should not cause guilt. If he doesn't get a desired result or a desired outcome for what he or she is doing. Also, at this stage develops curiosity. At this stage develops inquisitiveness, isn't it? They're also very conscious and they recognize, oh, they have this sexual curiosity or realization. They realize the difference between a boy and a girl. So there's a lot of exploration that happens in this age. And also because of this, this is the age which is of highest risk, and this is the age where the highest sexual abuse can also happen, isn't it? This is the time when the child can start feeling a little shy, a little embarrassed. All those feelings starts developing. Yeah. So this is the stage of initiative versus guilt if they do not get a desired outcome. From mapping it with remedies, column 4 and 5, these are the remedies that belong to the preschool. Okay. We have an early childhood level of development in the plant chart. You know, some remedies from the ranunculales also belong here. Okay. Scrophularis, we were talking about that. That also belongs here. Animal doesn't change. Then the major stage of development is the school age. What is school age? This is the first time the child is stepping out of the house and becoming independent, right? Now the focus is not just the mother. Focus is not just his simple day-to-day house chores or whatever little task he's doing at home, he or she is doing at home. Now the focus becomes more outside. Okay. First time the child's life is beyond his house, beyond his home, which is also beyond his womb. Yeah. So this is a major leap in a child's development, right? So there's school, there's teachers, there are friends, there is society, there is the concept of individuality, the concept of industry, the concept of being productive, the basics of science and technology. It is the time to prepare for the future. No? The first time exams are introduced, no? The concept of performance is coming for the first time. So in this stage, it's the first masculine principle. It's the first stage when the father becomes a little more important. Yeah, it's something that the child wants to go out and then prove himself. He wants to build a future, isn't it? The child becomes responsible. There's a sense of right and wrong. It is good to do this, it's bad to do that. Sense of morality comes, moral values come, cultural differentiation comes, individual development comes. Okay, so this is the stage of industry versus inferiority, because it's the time of proving. So this is the row 4 of the mineral chart, the kalis and the calciums and the scandiums. Okay, this is that stage of development. In a column perspective, if you see, column 6 is about the school age. Yeah, molybdenum, chromium. Molybdenum has no go out and prove. We have a beautiful case of molybdenum. wants to go out for the first time and prove that yes, even I can do it. It's all about industry, not wasting time, logical and things like that. Yeah, performance. In the plant chart, so there's a lot of, I mean, it's not distinct. Huh? I mean, so for example, if you see ranunculales, it covers the school age, it covers early childhood, it covers a little bit of adolescence. So it's not, what do you say?
Like compartment.
It's not compartmentalized, it's a beautiful word. Yeah, so there's a little bit of, because it's very fluid and there can be a lot of overlaps, isn't it, when you do a case also. Very distinctly in the plant chart, the fifth subclass, the rosids, belong to the school age. All the remedies here, our anacardiaceae comes here, will have this theme of euphorbiaceae comes here. A lot of the remedies in this subclass belong to the school age. They'll have the same theme. This theme that we just spoke about will be there in each group in this subclass. And in the mineral, in the animal, it still is within the mammal and the insect level. But if you see, a lot of remedies will also have school age themes. So for example, jumping spiders will have themes of school age. Okay. So look at both the columns and the rows. Now adolescence. Adolescence is a turbulent time, right? It's a time between childhood and adulthood. It's the time when the child faces some unique challenges and problems. This is the first time, what I want to become in life and who am I? This is a time of selfies and becoming more unique or more developed, isn't it? Of course, a lot of hormonal changes, new feelings, new body, new attitudes come up. This is also a stage where sexual identity comes in place. Here where friends become more important than family. Yeah. It's not only about discipline of school age. It's not about right and wrong of school age. It's about breaking the right and wrong. It's it's a time of rebelliousness, isn't it? Relationships, friendships, creativity, independence, all of that becomes more important in the adolescence age. From a remedies perspective, row 5. The silver wants to differentiate, right? Row 5 is what? It's about performance. It's about getting appreciated for your very, very, very peculiar skill that you have, isn't it? It's about creativity. It's about independence. It's about freedom, which you see in the row 5. You also see that in the column 7. You will see that here there's a adolescence row if you see in the rubials, for example. Very good example. What are the remedies in rubials? Remedies like coffee and China. Coffee is all about freedom. It's all about ideas. It's all about passion.
Creativity.
It's all about creativity, isn't it? So that is the adolescent stage. In the animal chart, finally we move towards the right. It's more the air element. Now that is a concept which is again very integral to the personal evolution, but we'll talk about it at a later point in detail. But also with adolescence, when you talk about freedom and independence and creativity, somehow the air element comes to you, isn't it? So here there are spiders, here there are birds. Okay. Within, if you see the rows also, let's say not just the arachnids and not just the birds, if you look at the row also, for example, within the mollusks, which is overall in the womb stage, which is an aquatic animal, the cephalopods within the ocean, within the mollusk group, the cephalopods are at an adolescent stage. The sepia and the octopus will have more air quality, more fire element. Isn't it?
Freedom.
The theme is freedom. Isn't it? So that way you'll also have to look at the chart also. Then we quickly go to the adult stage. Okay, so the adult has the young adult, the middle adult, and the late adults. Yeah, we'll put it all together. So in adulthood, what is now? Now you've had everything. Now you are the first time you are going out, and you are now going to build a life for yourself. No, this is the time of marriage. This is the time of responsibility. This is the time of getting a job. It's about taking care of your family. It's it's about beginning to establish yourself. Yeah, but at the same time, the love of mother, the love of father, the love of friends is not enough. Now you have an intimate partner. No, now you are going to get married, because there is an instinctual need to share your life with somebody as humans, isn't it? To sacrifice your own personal needs and wishes for others. You have to come together to find deep, meaningful relationship. So if you get that, so the theme here, or the psychological crisis here, is intimacy versus isolation. If you look at this, as all the adult stages are the row 6 of the mineral chart. Yeah, it begins with the Ferrum line. Yeah, column 8, 9, 10 is about being adult, at different levels. Column 10 is the most established adult, the pinnacle of success. Column 8 is the beginning of the adulthood. Yeah, so Ferrum is all about doing, the doership, the industry, that yes, I can do it, yes, I can achieve it. It's the beginning of the adulthood. Yeah, papaverils, laminales, they're all the adult group of entities. In the plant subclass, see how in the mineral chart we have the different rows and the different levels of development, right? We know it from Shankaran sir and Sholton. This 5, 6 levels of development. In the plant chart by Yaki, the development is in the columns. Yeah. So if you see the 4th subclass, or the 4th column of the plant chart, is equivalent to what? Row 3 of the mineral chart. This column 5 of the, or subclass 5 of the plant chart, is similar to what? Row 4 of the animal chart. And the subclass 6, sorry, mineral chart. And the subclass 6, or the 6th column of the plant chart, is the row 5 of the,
also the row 6.
row 5 and row 6 of the mineral chart, isn't it? So we look at it that perspective. So here it's about I and the group. Yeah, the most developed, the most adult in the plant. Okay, so in the animal chart you don't see a separate column for it, but you go in the, all the adults have a lot of fire in them, adults and old age. So scorpions, for example, yeah, or the wolf spiders, for example, or if you look here, the Elapidae group within the snakes. Okay, they are the ones who are adult. The whales, I mean, if you look at the sea mammals, between all dolphin and whales, dolphins are still adolescent, but whales are more adult, more responsible, more developed. Okay, the felids belong here. The predatory birds come here in the adult line. Okay, so young adult is the development, middle adult is more maturity, more productivity, betterment of the, to build a life for the future generations, to do something for the betterment of the society. So and sometimes you can be productive, and the issue sometimes can be you're stagnating, you're not growing in life. So that could be your psychological crisis. So you are again in the aurum line here in the mineral. You're going to column 12, 13, 14. You're moving more and more towards the right side of the mineral chart. We have late adulthood here in the plant chart. And of course, all the adult stage, as I said, is the 6th subclass here. We already spoke about the minerals. Old age now, again, remember the evolution. Old age is again the second childhood. Again, it's the stage of disintegration. It is the stage of destruction. Everything is slowing down. You're reflecting back at your life, whether it was fulfilling or whether
Losing.
you're losing. So what are the remedies that come to you? Arsenic,
Arsenic.
selenium, those kind of the right side of the mineral chart, the right side of everything. So it could be despair, it could be death, it could be dignity. It's like you're retired now. Yeah. Now you're not productive enough. You're somebody whom needs to be taken care of, isn't it? So this acceptance or non-acceptance can lead to issues in life. Yeah. So the ego, integrity versus despair. So selenium and beyond. Arsenic is still late adulthood. Yeah. So selenium and beyond, bromium, for example, will be the old age remedies. Okay. Papaverils will be here. Asteroides. Yeah. All which are the remedies here? Remedies like all your injury remedies, no? Chamomilla, the compositive family belongs here. Yeah. So theme of injury comes here. And animal chart we already spoke of. So in general, in personal evolution, just try to map this individual who's sitting right in front of you when you're taking the case. Is this very developed or is it not developed? Is he too young? Is he too old? What is the energy? Yeah, that makes your case taking very easy. Because if you're not able to take every case to the sensation, this method just helps you to map the patient. It kind of helps you map the patient in the evolutionary chart and from a developmental perspective, and it narrows down the search. Then I have to look only on the left side of the chart, whether it be in whichever kingdom, yeah, or I have to look at only the right side of the chart. I have to look at only infancy remedies. There is a lot of issue of nutrition. There's a development of complete dependence, the issues of love and relationship and care. So I can pick a remedy from any kingdom, but this level of development, yeah, it helps you in your practice tremendously. Any thoughts? This is all we had to share as part of.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
there was a question,
Hmm.
Seema, ki if you could show the animal's remedy of age 4 to 6.
Okay, animal remedies of age 4 to 6. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so you want animals, no? So in animal, no, Seema, isn't it? So animals is fairly simple in a way. All the remedies from infancy stage of development until before adolescence, that is from the age 1 till age 12, school age. You will see it under, no, age 12, no? Adolescence will be age 16 and onwards, isn't it?
19.
So infancy, early childhood, that is preschool, toddler, school age, all of it belongs under the terrestrial animals, which are the insects and the mammals. Okay. Anything else, anybody?
Dr. Chaya Ladha is saying how to take case so that we can get such data, otherwise patient speaks about facts.
So either you have an option to prescribe at the fact level, or sometimes getting sensation is very difficult. We have this patient will not go to the sensation level. Then you can use the symptom approach. You can repertorize. You can find what is peculiar, what is the concomitant. So use any methodology, and even if you don't rate sensation, at least see how developed is this patient. That can at least narrow down your search. Is he very childish? What are his issues? Is the issue with relationship? Is there issue with work? What is the main issue of this patient? What is he talking about? So at least if you are not able to go to the sensation, you are at least able to map that how developed this patient is. Then you use symptoms, then you use repertory, then you use whatever is the door with which you can enter, you enter and then try and explore. So sensation sometimes feels a little difficult. With practice, it doesn't, because you can enter sensation. You can start from the name fact and go up to the level of sensation. Yeah. But if that is not possible, if you think it's impossible, then at least map that patient from a developmental perspective, which will help you narrow down your search. Okay, Chaya? Anything else? Manali, is there anything else that we have?
Sorry, I was on mute.
Huh.
Monali is saying, can you please show the 2 to 3 slides before the womb stage?
This we'll put this recording out, so you will have, if you need to take screenshots. But let me again share my screen to show you womb stage.
Before womb stage. 2, 3 slides before the womb stage. Monali, you could unmute yourself and tell us where we need to stop.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. This only.
Okay.
The other song?
Next one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
More ahead?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, best.
Okay.
Okay, next one, ma'am. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome.
So I think I saw a comment on case taking. So is a huge topic. So again, recommend you to come in for the in-depth learning of all of these methods. There's so many things that we didn't cover. We didn't cover the elements. We didn't cover miasms. We didn't explain you how to do the chart. I mean, you can't do that all in one day, right? So highly recommend that you join in for the entire basic module. It's going to be very, very helpful in your practice. And it will be very practical, not just theories, but very practical on how to integrate everything: sensation, kingdoms, miasm, personal evolution, and then study each chart. Yeah. So the animals study the invertebrates and the vertebrates. In the plants, study the dicotyledons, the monocotyledons. Yeah, the ancient plants. And the minerals also study each row and column wise. So we'll do that. So case taking can be covered in a more detailed discussion. Yeah, Chaya, I
With the
think.
cases also.
And we use cases, yeah, with practical examples. This is just an introduction for those who are joining the mollusk module. So those who are from the mollusk group, who's going to be joining, do you feel a little more comfortable now? Anybody from the mollusk group who's here, who's going to join us next week? Vicky, Nikita. Yeah, I know them. I think Magan Jyot is also joining us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Samuel.
Samuel says yes.
Okay.
Yes, very much more comfortable.
All right. Okay. We'll also share the recording. We'll also email you some more resources, some more material which you could keep it in hand and read, so that it becomes a little more clear to you. Okay.
There is one question, ma'am.
Yeah.
Agrima is asking, is it possible that the patient start with delusion stage?
Yes. Sometimes the patient will go directly to the sensation also. He will not talk about his chief complaint. 1 hour you will just talk about everything else, and then he may go out and say, oh, I didn't actually talk to you about my chief complaint. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. The patient can come. The patient can live in a different plain, no, somebody is living at the level of delusion, then you will prescribe a remedy and the potency will be a different potency. Somebody else who is talking about that is somebody is only talking about at the name and fact level. No, Manali had that one patient that day in the evening in the clinic. No, you don't get anything of that patient. Only cough is there, and there is nothing else that you can think of. Some patients are like that. They will be at the name and the fact level, but patients come at the level of delusion. Some patients live at the level of sensation and energy also. Just ask them to close their eyes and they will just manifest. Okay, any other questions? Otherwise, I'm really proud of us that we are finishing on time. Before time though. We had some seniors also on the group, right? Anybody else who wants to add their viewpoints or anything?
We have Dr. Supriya Roy and
Bhavna is also there. Anybody wants to share anything before we close today's call?
so,
All right. Anything else, Prajakta? Okay, so thank you all so much for joining us today and look forward to starting the mollusk module. It's coming up really well. Very interesting cases, some beautiful follow-ups, and it's going to be very, very exciting. So those of you who are still not registered, do try and register. And see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you so
Bye.
much. Have a good rest of your day.